giving us the lowdown on why it's 1 point gained and not 2 points dropped. Chances to win the game. Different day we score. Penalty should have been given. Wasn't. Forrest as well. Difficult under Sean Dyche. We take it. Is he right?
Yeah, look, I think that's the way you have to view it now. I don't think you can afford to dwell on it. I don't think you can afford to sit and sort of go over it again and again and again, particularly when the teams around you drop points, meaning that actually you've come out of the weekend in a better position than the one you started. So I think that in an ideal world, we wanted the extra couple of points. We wanted the 9-point lead. At that point, I might have turned around and said, and everybody
what
knows,
would you have said?
Everybody knows I don't do this. I would have said we have one hand on the trophy.
One hand and 4 fingers and all that?
One hand. No, just one hand. For now. I would have stayed at one hand. But I would have said that because that would have been really, really significant. Yeah. But the thing that we have to understand, Flex, is that to win the Premier League title this year, you ain't got to be perfect.
No.
Clearly. Okay? You've just got to be better than the teams around you. And I think, we are better than Manchester City at this moment in time. We are better than Aston Villa. Nobody else is even close in terms of points and has shown anything that would suggest that they're in contention. So we just have to do better than Manchester City. And at the moment, we are doing that. And yes, some of Arsenal's performances have been a bit underwhelming. The game against Liverpool, the 0-0 was frustrating. Then you play against Nottingham Forest, another 0-0 in back-to-back Premier League games. And that's created a debate and a discussion around whether or not this Arsenal team are good enough. Have they got enough goals in the team? Yes, they do. Because if you look at the volume of goals that Arsenal have scored, there's not really anything to be too concerned about. I guess where the anxiety comes from is the fact that you don't know where the goal is going to come from. So if you're Manchester City and you're a fan and you're watching them and you go into the last 10 minutes of a game that you desperately need to win, you're probably looking at Erling Haaland and thinking, he's the guy. He's going to find the moment. He's going to produce and we'll be fine. There's someone to pin your hope on. In this Arsenal team, there isn't a player like that right now. There's not a single player in this Arsenal squad that scored more than 5 league goals this season. So you look around and in some ways it's a good thing that you're not reliant on one goal source, but at the same time, that unknown, that not knowing who is going to step up and produce that moment, because even Bukayo Saka's not doing it at the moment. I think he's got 1 goal in his last 16 games.
Yeah, that's incredible.
For Arsenal and England across all competitions.
How mad is that? It doesn't feel like that, though.
Exactly, because some of his performances have been really good along the way.
He's still a handful.
Absolutely. He still makes things happen. But my point is that if you don't know where to turn in your moment of need, you're going to be more anxious. And that's, I think, partly why Arsenal fans are feeling the way they are. We all hoped that Viktor Gyokeres was going to be that guy that we could look to. He's not. He's nowhere near.
He's not the guy.
He's not the guy.
Not good enough. Bought the wrong one.
I don't know if I'm going to sit there and say bought the wrong one, because who was the alternative? Benjamin Sesko?
Yeah.
How's it gone for him?
Would it have gone better for him if he was at your club?
I don't think it would. I was never convinced about him. I picked Viktor Gyokeres out of the bunch that we were linked with. But that never meant that I was certain he'd be a hit. We talked about it at the time. What was the exchange rate going to be between what he was producing in Portugal versus in England? He was never going to hit 40, 50 goals. It
feels like, if we was to actually do it, it feels like for every 6 goals or maybe every 8 goals you get in Portugal is like half a chance here, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's got
here.
I think
he's got about 6 goals.
I think he's got 7 or 8 across all competitions. Yeah. So it's not like a disaster.
No, but it doesn't. When you with the eye test, you know how we've got to give him this pen, get his confidence up, this, that, and you have a couple of tap-ins. It is what it is. But I just think I understand why there is this level of scrutiny on Arsenal from the outside and within Arsenal. Within Arsenal, it's as clear as day to see as a neutral. It's PTSD. It's PTSD because you've come so close so often the last 3 years in a row, and the pressure to win something significant, one of the big trophies, which is more likely going to be the Premier League at this stage, is so high that I feel like the fan base is consistently searching for the thing that's wrong, and we're not quite this and we're not quite that. And at the same time, some things can be true. You're not as free-flowing as maybe 2 seasons ago, scoring as many goals, as expansive as you used to be. But you look at the rest of the league, like you say, and you look at who you're up against, and you're not up against a prime City. If this version of Arsenal, playing like this, couple of draws here and there, was up against De Bruyne, Mahrez, prime Gundogan, prime Sterling, Jesus, etc., you're in trouble. But that's not the case. That's not the case. And you are 7 points clear. And I just think what's going on is that you've improved the front line, or you've tried to improve the front line with depth, but you look at it and the signings that you've made, you go, Eze's not killing it right now. Amazing in the North London derby and a couple of good performances here and there, but the manager's not picking him anyway. Gyokeres hasn't lit it up. Madueke started all right in the absence of Saka, got himself injured, come back, he's all right. And then you go, so we're kind of basically the same as last year in terms of the options we're reverting back to, but it's enough right now.
Yeah, we're kind of the same in terms of level.
Yeah.
But there's less risk of us seeing that level drop.
Yeah.
Because we now have the depth to deal with absences.
Exactly.
So I think...
Which you can do that all the way to the title.
Yeah, and I think Arsenal probably looked at last season, and when everybody was saying they're not good enough, I think they probably looked at it and went, no, we are at a high enough standard. We are consistent enough. But the problem is that when we get hit by something that threatens that, i.e. players missing, we can't handle it.
It has too much of a hit on you. Yeah.
And so rather than trying to smash through the ceiling, what we're trying to do is to just sturdy up our base level and make sure that that's something we can maintain throughout the season. And we're looking for assurances. Every week we're looking for assurances.
That's
right?
what
This is going to be the reason why we're going to win it. And when you see 2-0 nils, there's no assurances there.
And I speak to my Arsenal friends, my cousins, and I've got a lot of family Arsenal fans, and after every game they ring me and it's talking to them. Yeah. It's like, my cousin the other day was like, I hate football now, man. And I was like, you drew against Forest, you're 7 points clear. Like, you can't look for each game week to have this validation, like you said, of that means we're going to win now. Because it's hard. You're just on this emotional roller coaster. And I think, to be fair, Henry, who is hard to come by for praise, like you said, I think he got it spot on Monday Night Football. He said, Arsenal are doing well. Yeah. You know, we asked Mikel to find a way to win. And more often than not, as the table suggests, you're doing it. Is it going to be the most points that you got at a different season? Maybe not. But guess what? You just have to get what you need to get within the season you're in. Who cares?
That's it. And people will say, if Arsenal win the league this year, they'll say, oh, it's because Man City weren't at it. But I could say last season that Arsenal weren't at it and that Man City weren't at it, and that's why Liverpool won it. I just think, as fans, right, we don't care about that. No. I don't care what you, with all due respect, or any other supporter has to say about the rest of the league. I just want to see Arsenal crowned champions. We've all been waiting for a very, very long time. We're closer than we've ever been, but there's still a lot of work to be done. There
is. In terms of the January transfer window, another one of my Arsenal mates on one of the podcasts we had was like, yeah, because we look a bit toothless up front and, you know, goals aren't flying in, I'd maybe even, you know, if we can look in the market and, you know, and I just shut him down. I was like, you want more? You're waxing lyrical about all this depth and saying how great it is. You made your bed, did lie in it with Gyokeres. I was giving it to him. But he was like, no, just hear what I'm saying. Like, we've obviously made those decisions. It hasn't gone quite right. It's all about making sure we do this thing. Could we get another striker or another forward player to give us a little bit of something extra? Would you be up for that? Or do you think, no, Berta's coming, there's been a lot of change. You've got enough players. You're 7 points clear. Don't try and, again, out of that seeking for validity, like, give me more. I think we're getting a bit scared. Are you all right?
Yeah, I'm okay. I'm okay with what we have, because if you think about it, you break it down, centre forward, you've got three options. Havertz is back fit, Jesus and Gyokeres.
Even Marino, 4.
Even Mikel Marino, 4. If you look on the right side, you've got Saka, you've got Madueke. Obviously, Nwaneri could have played there, but he's going out on loan. Max Dowman's coming through as the third choice, say.
Yep.
On the left-hand side, you've got Trossard, you've got Martinelli.
They're doing a good job.
You could play Eze there.
Yep.
You could play Madueke out there. And then if you look at the attacking midfield positions, you've got Odegaard and Eze. Marino can play as an attacking midfielder, as we've seen.
Havertz can play there if he had to.
Havertz can play there. I don't think that we would benefit from bringing someone else in. I think then you start to create the kind of issue that's ultimately led to Ethan Nwaneri now having to go out on loan.
Enough games.
I think there's a thin line between having enough depth and being a little bit over bloated. And I just worry that if we continue to go down that path in pursuit of this title, we end up with an unhappy camp and too many players that are on the peripheries of things, and I don't think that's healthy.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.